Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and welcome back. You are on the mountain with Rick, and it is time for some Splinterlands and a town hall. Should be getting started any second now. In the meanwhile, how y'all doing? What is good? What's good? What is good? We are back again, taking over for RoguePatton this time. Third shift of the day. Love it, love it, love it. And hopefully they're just about to launch and we won't be waiting too much longer. But in the meanwhile, what's good? What is good?
All right, we're getting started in just a second.
All right, looks like we've got a few seconds. We will get some music going to make things a little less boring in the meanwhile. And as soon as things go live, I will go ahead and pause that. Here we go. We're going to turn the volume down on that just a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and maximize here.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Splinterlands Town Hall. I am your host, I'm Agrode. I'm the CEO and founder of Splinterlands. I am joined by a crew of hardworking, gentlemen of the crew of delightful humans, hardworking, gentlemen of the highest degree. And we're hard at work. It's the new year is
all right. Here we go.
Is already started. We're off to the races. 2023 is here, and we are going after it. And I don't know. We're just doing the thing. Hopefully we got some excited people to be here. I can see Quantum Nachos, Blewett. Blewett actually sent me a personal gift. I need to call Blewett out for just a moment here. He sent me some things from the comic book shop. He was like, "You seem stressed out these days. Here's some cool comic things." And I gave them to my kids. My kids were very excited. They fought over some of them. It was awesome and very thoughtful. So we got Blewett in the house. We got Ryan 600, J-Wing. Azaria is here. She's keeping the town hall on track. Just so you know, the way that these things typically go, it's been a while since I've said this. The first part, the company is just going to go kind of talk about some of what we're doing. The second part, we're going to take questions that we've already gotten from the audience. We cleaned up the grammar a little bit, and we just organized them so that they're a little bit nicer to go through. And then in the final part, we just open up the floodgates, and you guys can ask whatever. We got Michael B in the audience, and I just want to say thanks. I'm excited that you guys are here. It's late on a Monday, and I don't know, just awesome to have this crowd, awesome to have these people, and it's hopefully what I think is the bottom of a bear. So these are the hardest of times and a late evening for a lot of people. So I'm just grateful for the folks that could make this. So why don't we hop over? We're gonna go do like a quick team stand up, and the point of this is just to kind of give like a 1 or 2 sentence thing.
Nice lineup today.
Basically a table of contents. What is it that we're going to cover? So if Cryptomancer and Nate, if you guys just want to quickly talk about what's on the docket for tonight.
Howdy folks, Happy New Year. I'll be talking about brawls and tournaments, specifically gladiator tournaments and the new card set revamp.
I'm just here to have fun. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever we end up sharing.
Nate's always so easygoing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get a little eye candy out of Nate. We'll see how that goes. All right, gents on the bottom, we got Weird Beard, Investigator, and Chatter. Can you guys just quickly talk about what we're gonna do?
My name's Weirdbeard. I like to party, and no, we're here to have a good time. I do esports and tournaments. Today we're talking about, again, gladiator tournaments. which
Weird
are
Beard
on the
likes to
way,
party.
and some other fun tournaments.
I'm an investigator. I'm one of the developers and working on the operations team, and I'm going to be going over what's going out tomorrow in the next release.
Awesome. I'm Chatter. Just realized that Weird Beard's name is Weird Goatee today, so that's fun. Going to be talking about the kind of near future of marketing and then kind of what's to come in the long term.
Rock on. So why don't we go and have some words with wizards? We have a release coming out tomorrow, so maybe Investigator can kind of explain what's going on with that, and then Encryptomancer, who helped develop some of the stuff that's going to go into it, can kind of give us some more details. And just a little bit of a shout out. I can see Bitcoin Sig in the audience, Reseller, Aftersound, Bev Omega, and Kraken Jr. So awesome to have you guys here. Wonderful. Really excited. And all right, Investigator, what's happening tomorrow? What's going in there?
Well, the biggest thing, and apologies for this not being fixed last week as advertised, but the daily logout should be changed to a weekly logout. That was still an issue after the last patch, as probably everybody already noticed. So they tell me it's definitely fixed this time.
Okay. The second time's a charm. We'll see. Hopefully this one goes okay.
That's not.
We do have a lot of little things that either the community brought up or that we found. So besides being logged out, there was some complaints about multi-key not working with battle submissions and SPS claims. So since it works in most of the other places on Splinterlands, we went and fixed it so it would work there as well. We fixed an issue where the guild images and links stopped working after the last patch. There are a couple UI updates to the Tower Defense shop page with some new artwork. Probably the thing that people will be more interested in, we get a couple new rule sets.
Woohoo! New
There
rule
will
sets.
be 2 new rule sets coming out tomorrow.
Heck yeah!
The first one is Aimless, in which all monsters get scattershot. Which should be a fun one.
I don't like
And
it.
The other one is Ferocity, where all monsters get Fury. And to make things less confusing, we are changing the Spreading Fury rule set, where all monsters get Enrage, to be called What Doesn't Kill You, because people think it gives you Fury instead.
So apparently, what doesn't kill you makes you angrier. Is that the point?
Makes you stronger.
Yep.
Cause
From the operations team, we did a big cleanup of a bunch of our database functions. Could make our internal stuff perform a lot better. We were returning a bunch of stuff from the database back to the servers that we then never used, so we're going to stop doing that. Stop returning unused data, which should make everything run faster. Also, tomorrow we're going to be doing some server maintenance, so it may be a little bit of a longer downtime than usual. And the last thing I should mention before I pass off to Cryptomancer is we're going to add a new tournament mode, gladiator tournaments, where you can use your gladiator cards inside of a tournament.
okay, that is
Okay,
pretty cool.
so,
Although again,
To me,
let's focus on land,
it's a
not
pretty
new
big
game
deal that
modes.
we have some server cost reduction things going on in this patch. I've been talking to PJ and Patrick, who's our CTO, and trying to stay on top of this. And in a bear market, it's really important that we do everything we can to control our costs. And we really don't want to reduce human expenses. We want to keep the people that we have on staff. This is a really talented crew. We really like the folks that are here, and we still want to be able to cut some of the costs of the business. And so if I have to figure out what mouth is going to get less money from Splinterlands. I'd rather be at some third-party experience, and in this case, it's Amazon. And Amazon has a pretty good attitude about this. They really see kind of a rabid desire to help customers cut costs is one of like the pillars of their work environment. Um, so hearing from PJ and sort of seeing, at one point we had to pay $400,000 in a single month for our Amazon server bills, and that's just not sustainable or fun. And now we're seeing the costs come down. There's still a lot of room to go, but from like the highest bill to what I think our monthly costs will be, there's a non-zero chance we're going to be able to do a 90% reduction in costs, just really by focusing on that and making that a priority for the business. Do you think there's wiggle room for us to go lower costs without like destroying the user experience? Is there like enough excess and waste there, or do you think some of the changes are going to have a negative experience for the players?
Overall, I think it's not going to impact the players. We definitely, during the bear market, we went pretty big on server costs, and there's a lot of stuff that basically we're not using. There's a lot of also just rework of how we designed our infrastructure, where we can save a lot of money. Kind of the original design was like big monolithic servers. They're just running all the time to handle all the traffic. And we're kind of transitioning from that into spinning up servers on demand. As traffic goes up, we'll spin up more smaller servers to handle the demand. So we're not running these giant expensive servers 24/7. We're running smaller ones, and we can just add more smaller ones. So overall, it'll be way cheaper than what we've been doing for the majority of last year. And I mean, we really started with the Carnops team at the end of December. And so far, it looks like we've probably shaved off from December to January about 30%, maybe going up month over month. Hopefully, we're going to get that higher after tomorrow. But,
I'm excited. I mean, I think that the team, there's basically 5 priorities across the entire org. It's raise revenue, cut expenses, raise capital, and try to be more efficient. And so this is one of those legs. The leg is, what can we do to be as like efficient as possible? Like you said, running giant megalithic servers all the time, like that's one way to run the org, and it works. But when you get into
you can definitely
bear
be more
markets
cost
instead of bull
efficient
markets, where we don't have infinite cash to throw at things, this is now a more reasonable, expandable, extensible, like long-term sustainable approach. So I'm excited for what you guys are working on, and looking forward to giving Amazon less money every single month. So thanks for working on that, Investigator. And like you said, we get this Gladiator tournament and presumably some more stuff that's coming. So Cryptomancer, maybe you kind of want to walk us through some of what you're thinking for just like what's up with tournaments, and what should we start thinking? What are your next like projects that you're going to take on?
Hello, everyone. So first, I just want to say I hope everyone had a really relaxing and wonderful end of 2022, and that you're all refreshed and recharged and excited now for 2023. I know I am. I think it's going to be a great year.
I am excited for
Splinterlands.
2023,
There's
absolutely.
Lots of exciting things to look forward to this year with SPS validators and land blossoming, coming into its own. And of course, tournaments and the guild system should be getting a lot of love this year. So I myself am just recently returned from a nice Christmas vacation, and I'm back in the saddle now. And my main focus for the time being is going to be on tournaments and guilds. So a couple exciting things I want to talk about. First, specifically, gladiator tournaments. So as Investigator mentioned, we've got gladiator tournaments going out in the release tomorrow. And this will be a new optional format for tournaments. So you won't be able to use gladiators in every single tournament that comes along. You'll be able to use them in specially designated gladiator tournaments. And in order for a tournament creator to set up a gladiator tournament, the tournament creator has to be on the tournament creation whitelist. So that's the same as creating a Splinterlands Open tournament, or what we call a ghost card tournament. So if you're a tournament creator and you're not on the whitelist and you think that you should be, you can talk to Weirdbeard about that, and he can fill you in on eligibility details and application requirements and all that stuff. So from a player's point of view, when you're playing in a gladiator tournament, gladiators will work pretty much as you'd expect. So just like with brawls, you'll only be able to select one gladiator at a time for your team. So you have to choose carefully. They're pretty powerful cards. You won't be able to stack your entire team with all gladiators, because that would be crazily overpowered. So that's just like with brawls. However, unlike brawls, you don't have to worry about the barracks level restrictions. So just like with other cards, when you use gladiators in a tournament, they're subject to the usual summoner level limits and the cap on the tournament. Like, is it a bronze tournament or a silver or a gold or a diamond tournament? So that's just like normal. And I want you to think for a minute about the implications of gladiators being used in a Splinterlands Open tournament, a ghost tournament. Think about that for a minute. Ghost tournaments allow the max level cards, subject to the tournament rules. And just imagine what a max level gladiator will be like. You can literally, this will be the only place in the game where you can play max level gladiators, because they take so long to level up. Nobody has earned max level gladiators from brawls yet. So the only place you're going to see them is in Splinterlands Open gladiator tournaments. So that will be really exciting to watch for. And we should see some really interesting, unique battles coming out of those tournaments.
Dakota, how fun would an all gladiator match be, though? Yeah, absolutely.
And then once you got that, what do you? So this is out and this is coming like in the patch tomorrow. So now that you're back home, now that you're back in the saddle, like what's your next highest priority that you're going to be working on?
So now that's out, I'm focusing mainly on the card set revamp. And what that means is, as we mentioned in previous town halls, we're going to be reorganizing the way things work on the website a bit, so that instead of being edition-centric, tournaments and brawls are going to switch to being set-centric. And what we mean by that is we're going to group together all the cards that have the same type of card border. So for Chaos Legion, when you enter a Chaos Legion tournament in the future, instead of being just the Chaos Legion edition being allowed, you'll be able to use all the cards that have Chaos Legion frames. So that means the Chaos Legion edition itself, plus the Rift Watchers edition, which is the mini set associated with Chaos Legion, plus reward cards and promo cards that have Chaos Legion borders. So that whole family of Chaos Legion cards is all grouped together, and that's what we're calling a card set. So the sets are going to be, there's going to be the Alpha set, the Beta set, the Untamed set, the Chaos Legion set, and in the future, the upcoming Rebellion set. And the filters will change to be based on those sets rather than specific editions. So like when you look at the tournament list, you'll see like which tournaments are Chaos Legion set or Untamed set. And the same thing's going to apply to brawls.
I'm excited for Lux to be a Chaos Legion card.
Are going to be based on sets now instead of specific editions. So what this means is that when you play a modern tournament or a modern fray, you're actually going to be able to use those cool Chaos Legion promo and reward cards. You'll be able to see your Dr. Blight in action finally. So I think people are going to be really happy about that. And all of this is coming pretty soon. It's a fairly complicated revamp. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that needs to be changed to get this to work properly. But if all goes well and we don't run into any showstoppers, we're looking at probably sometime in February for a release. So that's on the horizon.
That's awesome. It's also awesome that you and I have been working together long enough that I don't even have to ask the questions anymore. You just sort of like go into the next obvious aggro question. Like, okay, that all sounds cool. Tell us about the timing of it. I didn't have to ask that. You were just like, took a moment's pause and were like, you probably want to know when this is happening. So I don't know. This is just some of the synergy that you get after, you and I have been working together for almost 4 years now. I don't know how quickly you came on board for all this stuff.
That's been a wild ride.
It's like 3 or 4 years. So I don't know. I'm just noting what that looks like. So, anyways, that sounds pretty awesome. So we're gonna have that's in there, and
Ape
then,
Wall Street,
then we
one
have to
player
figure out what
staking.
comes
Amen,
after
bro.
that. I know
Amen.
that Matt has some ideas of what other pieces to do. I know that like draft mode is something that people are really interested in. So if this takes you 2 sprints or something to go get the set stuff done, there's still a bunch left in this first quarter. So we'll see what else can we put an answer on and get out into the wild.
Yep, I know. Another thing on the radar is guild alliances. So that's also something that will be coming at some point. I'll probably have a hand in that as well. But that'll be for another town hall at a future date.
Do you want to explain anything about that? I mean, I know at a high level, a guild alliance basically lets you sort of merge multiple guilds into one mega guild. But Matt is excited about this in part because he thinks if there's opportunities for token burnings or buildings or taking DEC or SPS out of circulation, like have you guys had enough advanced discussions yet to really think through like where are the token burns or where are the token spends that come as you think about merging these guilds together?
It hasn't been completely spec'd out yet, so I don't want to say too much yet until things are finalized. But I will say that guild alliances will introduce a whole new set of guild buildings, alliance buildings, which are created and maintained by the alliance as a whole rather than one particular guild, and that'll be a big new DEC sync.
Sweet. Yeah. I want to see not just a DEC sync, but like you have to go stake a large number of cards at high level in order to go get maximum benefits. So hopefully we get some early edition of monster staking as we do this too.
Yep, we're planning to incorporate something to do with Rooney staking. Still need to see how that's going to shape up, but that could also be a part of it.
Yeah, rock on. Okay, anything else on your
The
brain?
memes in Discord are so good.
Nope, that's it for me. Just super excited about what the next few months are going to bring, and I hope you guys are too.
Rock on. All right, well, thanks, Des. Thanks, Wizards. And thanks for kind of filling us in on what's going on tomorrow and some of the future plans for the work stream for Cryptomancer. Next up, we got ourselves some marketing time. And I don't know if you've met this young gentleman by the name of Chatter, but Chatter, what's going on? Like, it's a brand new year. Is Splinterlands dead? Is the game over? Should we pack it all in? Like, what's it looking like for us? Are we doomed, or are we going to make it through 20? What is it, Wagami? Are we going to make it, or we all going to make it?
We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. No, we're still alive and kicking. Obviously, with the market, there's some like ebbs and flows, and it's a bit more extended than we thought it was gonna be. But realistically, what that means is we're just shifting away from a lot of our kind of outbound spend. So a lot of the things like spending on ads and stuff like that, we're not seeing as much of a return now as we were kind of beginning of last year, whatever else there. So instead, we're kind of doing twofold. So one is a lot of organic marketing, looking at how we can get on a whole bunch more kind of search engine result pages. If you're typing on Google, hey, I want to find a blockchain game, whether it's us being able to write the article and get them that placed, or if it's, hey, maybe TechCrunch or someone like that has an article out, we're reaching out to them, we're trying to get on those, we're trying to figure out the best way of essentially expanding our visibility without having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing itself. Other things that we're looking at, I know right before the break we mentioned Be in Crypto are writing 3 different kind of thought leadership articles for them. Those are getting placed pretty soon, and we're talking to a few other publications to get those going. But realistically, it's a lot of kind of grinding and just kind of manual work, getting nose to the grindstone to get that kind of going right now. Other things that we're looking at is how can we expand other projects like Tower Defense and GLG, getting more customers and more kind of players in those allow us a bigger pool to really kind of start marketing our game between the kind of grapevine there. So we're looking at things like for MLS and for GLG, we have a whole media day event. So we're getting, I think it's right now, we have like 8 or 9 different MLS players looking to help kind of push the game on release. So that'll be coming in the next kind of 2-3 months. We're looking at getting campaigns spun up for Tower Defense, both with Snapchat and a whole bunch of other different campaigns as well. Really, it's just across the board. We need to do everything that we can to get the word out. I don't think there's kind of one specific thing that we're doing, but it's going to be a lot of running. Unfortunately, the marketing side of things, it's not the most kind of glamorous eye candy, hey, here's the big update. We've been looking at how do we do audits across the platform right now. We've been looking at how do we expand our marketing campaigns. Other thing that is, I guess, a little bit more exciting on our front, and big credit to Weirdbeard for a lot of this, is we're looking at new things like battle passes that will kind of refresh the game, give a lot more playability, and make it kind of just a new little exciting element to it. We're also looking at new game modes. Can't say anything about that yet. We haven't gotten anything officially roadmapped or planned, but we started talking about that the other week. And I think we have something really cool in mind. So hopefully that will all come to fruition. And if it does, you guys will be the first ones to know.
Yeah, to me, we gotta figure out new ways that players can engage with us and the new experiences, and we also got to deliver on the things that we said we're gonna do. And it's like
When
chew bubble gum at the same time. We got to get our goals game out. We got to go get Tower Defense live and kind of showcasing more of what we're doing with Tower Defense. Seems like some people are sleeping on Tower Defense packs, and I'm not sure that's the wisest thing that they've ever done. And lastly, one of the other things that is on my brain is that we're finally under 20% of Chaos Legion left. So I know a lot of people have Chaos Legion, and that there's relatively inexpensive packs on third-party markets. But one thing to keep in mind is that by March these things are done. So one way or another, and then there's also something like 2.65 million packs left. So it's may not be like dire right this second, but we're going to be under 2 million packs in something like 15 days. So and then we also have the winter promo going on. That's like over in 3 days. So if you want to go get the bear, salty Artemis bear, you want to go get him, you have limited time to do that. So I know that we're in the bottom of a bear, and players are salty, and people are feeling spent, but it is a brand new year, and I don't know, these additions do actually have a lifetime, and that that lifetime is not infinite, and we're finally coming down to the wire of Chaos Legion. So if you think that there's any reason that you might now or in the future want to hold these cards, you basically have 3 months to get them at the lowest prices, because once things sell out, it's very I've yet to see a card that has hit its mint conclusion and then like gone below its kind of like average price. Once the cards are out of circulation, it's kind of game over. So anyways, I don't know, I just encourage you guys to think through. We're getting to the end of an edition. You have a couple months left to go get these, and I would just encourage you to not sleep on Splinterlands cards over the next couple months, because a little touch of a bear, or just a touch of a bull, we've bounced I don't know, what is that, 1600 from the lowest part, a little bit more, and we might actually have like a confirmed bull run again. We're definitely at lows, and it's definitely a rough time, and maybe we have years left, but the thing that I think about is like, what is going to happen to the Splinterlands economy if we catch a bull run, and will I have enough cards? And my general answer is no. I will want more. All right, so we have some partnerships to work on. We have our existing cards. Is there anything else that's kind of on the marketing horizon that we want to make sure that players know about, or just high level things that have you excited generally about where this company's headed, or kind of next things that are coming?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, there's a whole bunch of things that we're kind of planning behind the scenes right now, and we're still going to have to scope out a lot of those different things. But I think kind of the big sentiment that I'll say out to everyone here is both Weirdbeard, myself, and a lot of other people at this company have been kind of keeping our nose down in all the discords and all the other chats and different kind of places of social media. And we're really kind of trying to take those considerations and everything that you're saying into question here. So as I mentioned, we're planning a whole bunch of things behind the scenes. A lot of it's kind of based off what you guys are looking at, things like the battle pass and then other game modes, everything else. Other thing top of mind is if you guys are in San Francisco late March, we're going to be there for Game Developers Conference. We're planning that out right now. So just keep an eye out or shoot me a message if you want to grab a coffee or something like that.
Yeah, it is my objective to go bring other companies into Web3, and do that in a way that's scalable. The technology that runs Splinterlands. I think I mentioned this last town hall, but we've done 1.8 billion transactions on chain. 1.8 billion. There's not a lot of companies out in the space that's done like anywhere close to that, as far as I know. So that to me is kind of a huge deal, and it's just like a testament to the systematic way that we've built our tech stack to be able to be scaling. And so I think we have a number of solutions that we can offer other Web2 companies, and if that's the case, we're gonna help build this ecosystem bigger and bigger, and I'm excited for that. All right, chatter. Well, we'll catch you next week. We'll see what else is up, and what little pieces are out there. I guess I should mention casually one of the next promo cards we floated an offer out, so we'll see if they bite. And I don't know. Hopefully either late Q1 or early Q2, we'll get another promo card out. That'll be. I think this one is pretty exciting for the organization. So we'll see what happens with it. All right. What do I got next? We did some marketing. I think we need to go get Weirdbeard on here, or Weird Goatee, so that we can have a little conversation about Brawlhalla.
It's almost come back. I had a week. This is a decent little peach fuzz on my face.
It looks like a little 5 o'clock show or something. Like we to get back to Weird Beard, you really need to have like the fleshy, meaty beard in there.
I'm listen. I'm committing to doing Movember this year, so we're gonna at the end of the year we're gonna see how weird this beard
Really
gets.
wow.
Oh yes.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, are you going to be Weird Mo for that, or what's it going to look like?
I don't know. I haven't decided. I want to do like a fundraiser through the community and let people choose my facial hair that I have to wear and style it the entire time. But we'll see. It's gonna be fun.
Okay. All right. So you heard a little bit of the news for what's coming in the update for tomorrow. Like how is the player reaction to that? Is it ho hum, this sucks, nobody cares? Is this a highly anticipated event? Like what's it look like?
People are excited for any gameplay stuff. You know what I mean? Like anytime we're able to put in new gameplay stuff, people always go, 2 thumbs up, love it, thanks so much. Even if they're like not gonna participate, they're still excited. Cryptomancer mentioned we've never had any max level gladiator cards. This is gonna be like the first time that we're gonna see those like bad boys out in action and see. I'm really excited because I'm always interested in like weird metas or combinations that people don't know of yet. That they're going to be able to discover by playing in tournaments like this. And it encourages people to go and want to, like bother their guild to buy more bloodstones, right? Like this is the kind of stuff that I'm always excited for. But we have not only gladiator tournaments going in, so that we can do them both ghost card and owned gladiator card tournaments too.
Is that are tournaments done? Are brawls done? Have we reached the maximum of brain capacity of what will ever be created, or
No,
Absolutely not.
what else?
I mean, we one of the big things that we've talked about it before by a lot of times, draft mode tournaments. Draft modes are it's a smash hit. It doesn't bring in a ton of new players. It's not like there are players who are being like, oh, I would play Splinterlands except for the fact that they don't have draft mode tournaments. But we have a lot of room to go. I think the next big one is the league lock system. I think it's going to be fun. I like talking about it because it like raises stakes and makes things exciting. So,
What is a league lock system, sir? I don't think that's a terminology that has been on the town hall that much.
a little. All right. So, from a 10,000 foot view, right? Tournaments suffer from a couple of different problems right now. One is that like there's no way to accurately make people play against people of their own kind of like rank, right? When I first got here, it was even if you were a champion level player, you could enter into bronze tournaments, and you just like would stomp on them. Like it was not really competitive for a lot of times. So then we put in penalties to make it so that like you had to be within a certain range. You could go like one league up, one league down, but there was ways to get around it. Like it was just annoying, right? So league locks, what it does is it would allow any player to be able to choose what league they wanted to be competing in, whether that's bronze, silver, gold, diamond, or champion for the entire season, right?
What about gold foil tournaments? How would you have one for each?
The gold foil tournaments would still kind of like sit to the side. It wouldn't have to be all lumped in together. Because it's tough to be like, hey, compete at a diamond level, but you also need diamond gold foil cards.
Yeah,
like that's
it's a little brutal.
Yeah, exactly. But then you compete and you get access to all those tournaments for the entire season, right? So if I choose gold, I would compete. I would have access to every single gold league tournament without paying individual like fees. The cool thing about that is it makes it so that you are locked into that league. And then we're also, I'd like to do it with an F1 style point system, right? So if I win the alpha tournament, there's like multiple ways because it all ends up qualifying you for a ghost card championship at the end of every single tournament season, right? So you could do it a couple of ways. Maybe I'm somebody who just wants to play in every tournament. All right, cool. You can do that and collect prizes, and you maybe make it to the championship, you maybe don't. I could be somebody who goes, yo, listen, I'm only going to play the ones that have the highest the points that add up on the circuit. Those are the only ones I'm going to do. I know I'm always going to be in that ghost card tournament at the end. Or you're just somebody who's in there like, listen, buddy, I'm here. I'm not going to qualify for that tournament, but I'm going to play in whatever I can, And it's nice because it allows players to choose what league they're competitive at. So it's a risk reward thing where like I may be a lower level player. I may say, oh, I'm going to go compete in, champion or diamond. You might be able to do that, but you also risk being locked into a season or to a season long like league where you just get your ass kicked the entire time. So it's like, or if I'm somebody who's a champion level player, could you go and squat in bronze? Sure, but you're giving up so much more prizing by locking yourself into only competing in bronze league for the entire season.
Isn't this all a moot point? Doesn't Yasek just win every tournament every time, and we are all slaves to him? That there's no way to. It's all rigged. There's no way to win, and we should just roll over, lay on the ground, give up, surrender our personal integrity, and just say, Yasek, you can have all the tournament prizes from now on.
Well, I think it kind of is going to alleviate the ability for people to because like I in my own perfect world, right, I'd want people to have a tournaments account, like when we eventually roll out achievements and when we roll out like the ability to have battle stats of showing the tournaments that you've won and everything, right? You're going to want people to be on one account for tournaments and have that be their competitive account, and you're going to want to see them in the biggest of the big leagues. So it's like, listen, Yasek, if you really are going to win every single one, go play in the pro league, go play in the highest level that we have that's just absolutely dominant, because we want the people who are like buzzsaws to be there. Our Japanese player community, I am in daily awe of like Weiwei and Schnapoon, and like all those guys are brutal. There's a player, Queen Sylvia, who's another player who, they're some
Shout
people
outs to
consider them
Sylvia.
lower league players. They're nasty, man. They always come through to win. And I think like being able to give players like that the opportunity to say, hey, I can, go toe to toe with the big boys if I want to, allowing them the chance to go to bat for stuff like that, I think is exciting.
Okay, so
Okay.
well, I'm just trying to think through, like, there's a lot there's like an infinite amount of work that we could do.
Yes.
I know that I've like, are we done? Did we do everything? Like, it's clearly like a dumb question,
Yeah,
leading
totally.
question. There's an infinite amount of work that we can go add to this. I mean, how do you establish priorities? And then you're one of the people that interacts with the player base more than anybody else. So one of the things that we then end up trying to figure out is like, how do we take the conversations that you're having and turn that into epics and stories and things that the development team can look at, figure out success criteria, weigh against all the other things that we're going to do, and then figure out what we're going to implement. Um, the product team, I used to say this in a negative light, and not about this particular product team. I worked at an ed tech company where I started having this opinion, but it's like the product team is where good ideas go to die.
Oh yes.
And I was really frustrated about that. But now, sitting at the CEO level, looking at all the limitations that I have with, like, you only have so many devs and there's only so many problems that you can solve. Good ideas.
That's why we need to
should
focus
die.
more on land.
And I know that's going to hurt people's feelings when, like, we tell them you had a good idea and it's not going in,
Yeah.
or it got like a low priority. And that's because, like, the product team should only be working on sensational or exceptional ideas, not every good one, right? Like, there's
Correct.
too many good ideas. There's not an infinite amount of time. Maybe if we solve all the mega things and we feel like it's really, the biggest parts are done, then we can start moving on to good ideas and, like, the little fixes here and there. But honestly, it's like, our team really needs to be focused on just the things that are going to move the needle the most. So as you kind of think through, there's different things to gauge it by. Like, as CEO, I worry a lot about revenue to the business. As a whale, I think, how does this increase the value of my SBS or DEC? I think through what are sinks and what are burns. I think through how does this enable the players to go communicate more. It's that community, economy, and gameplay. How does this make the game more fun? Those are the things that are in my brain and that I use to make my decisions. But you're like literally interacting with the community all the time, and then you're translating those ideas into, like, things that actually move into the development pipeline. So what is it that, like, what is your value system? What are you holding highest? What are you prioritizing and what are you deprioritizing as you're trying to, like, sift through an internet's worth of ideas about what could happen next?
Yeah, I feel like I'm plugged in the Matrix, and I'm just like, I can be like, I want to know Kung Fu, and I could learn how to do Kung Fu. There's two ways to do it. The first way is the easier way, which is usually when people have a good idea, it's actually born on a smaller thing, and then how they want to apply it, right? So there are small things that we're able to do that aren't like a project, right? One of them is, for instance, like the ability to select and invite specific players to a tournament, right? So one of the issues that people have is they're like, oh, well, anybody can join, and I don't really like the password system because the password can get leaked. And, like, how about we do this? And then they describe a big tournament system. It's like, well, actually, your underlying issues that you just want to be able to invite specific people to a tournament, right? That's like an easy task to be able to put in there and doesn't cannibalize, like, having to not do other stuff, right?
So that's basically just a whitelist or an allow list, right? Like,
Exactly.
it's a tournament where the owner or the creator of the tournament can just gate certain accounts. If Gank made me angry one too many times, Gank can't play. And if Ape of Wall Street is out there shilling the game and doing awesome stuff, I'm like, gosh darn it, I need Ape in this tournament.
Yeah,
That's the idea.
Yeah, and so it's like you can find the kind of like the germ of what is the real problem. Like a lot of what I do is customer service stuff. You know, you have to put on your customer service voice and be like, "Hi, what's bothering you today? What's the real issue here?" And like when you peel it away, you can find hopefully smaller tasks that you can kind of put in there. Um, and again, make it so that it's not a project. But then when we do get to the size of a project, which is things like the battle pass, which I think is great because it brings revenue to the company, it gives players a reason to like interact with the game with non-monetized style of like rewards. It encourages exploration within the game. I think the big things that you want to look for is attracting new players who like either didn't know about Splinterlands or weren't interested in Splinterlands before, a way to make steady, recurring monthly income from things that aren't just like, oh my God, we need to do, a pack sale and a pack sale because they're like these whole big things. Like smaller groundwork style projects, I think are great. And then the other thing too is, does it make players who are already part of the ecosystem like it, energized for other things, right? Like one of the other things that I constantly make to the community is like after we made layoffs last year, a lot of people were always so scared for the company. I'm not scared for company like itself. I'm scared that like the players would lose interest. That's where a game, you know what I mean, like starts to hit snags is when you lose a player base. You've seen in a lot of other like Web3 titles in the space where as soon as like people stop talking about it, it just doesn't come back again. So like making sure that we keep the people who are already engaged and new players happy at the same time, like you can do that with different styles of projects and just trying to balance and like feed a little here, feed a little there type of a thing.
What do you? So what? Out of all the things, if you could only pick one or pick two, like what do you think are the highest priorities that that isn't just like, what we as Splinterlands, the corporation, want, but like if you could gather up all the players and take a stakeholder vote of what is the highest priority for tournaments or brawls, like
Draft
what do
mode.
you think would come back?
I mean, I can tell you right now, no bots in tournaments is massive. Like,
Draft mode.
I relate ranked and as like the core gameplay loop as being like a Jenga tower. You can't mess with too many blocks at one time, right? Like, it is a very intricate system with not only the rewards but how people rent and climb, and it's like the entire ecosystem, right? Tournaments are kind of like their own black box where we can kind of mess and finagle with more things, but like instead of overhauling everything and just trying to make this like bot conversation be about everything. I want to make it about tournaments and about competitive environments and say, hey, we can have some tournaments that allow for bots and allow everybody in, and then other ones that people are able to elect into that are, either the KYC or bot free implements that we put in, like whatever the thing is. I just can tell you that's number one because seeing them in ranked, it's about, people will make the argument, hey, we want to match quickly and find bots to be able to play against. We want to make sure that we have enough people available in the rental market and all this kind of stuff. When it comes to tournaments, people are very fickle about like it is a competitive environment. There should not be like advantages to machines because when I go and play a chess tournament, I'm not playing Watson. I think it was his name from IBM or whatever it was.
I mean, how do you? So like some bots are stupid easy to detect, right?
Yes,
Like
totally.
they don't play through the interface, and all that they do is submit custom JSON. They never log into the website, and then like that is a bot. There's no like I would bet my entire fortune that there is nobody that plays Splinterlands by like typing in custom JSON
Yeah,
and
really.
publishing that directly to the web. There's no human. Not even the nerdiest of the devs are doing that routinely, right? It's really just the bots that do that. But the second that we ban that, it's not like, oh, we beat bots and now we're done.
Yeah,
Then it
definitely.
becomes a cat and mouse game where now they figure out other ways where like, um, the bot knows where the cards are on the screen, so like it can click different things. Like especially with artificial intelligence coming and things like that.
Mhm.
So I think, honestly, I think that the way to do this is kind of going back to your allow list or whitelist to be like, only certain accounts can play, and you either need, manual confirmation or some kind of contract that says I won't bot for the purpose of this tournament. And even then, how do you know that it's them? How do you know it's not their Korean brother? How do you know it's
Yeah.
not, their kid sister that's like some prodigy? There's no, without having like, um, this is, oh my God, I'm feeling like I'm about to get into some like political voter ID campaign of like, you need to come to this physical location. You have to have 3 forms of ID. We need to make sure that your gas bill and your utility bill match up with your current name.
And you got to
And
know the
then,
secret handshake.
yeah, definitely a secret hand. And only then are you able to like enter the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, listen, I think I'm a master of like being just okay with progress. I think that it's going to be a system that has to be refined. I don't want to say, because I mean, we've had internal dev talks, and I don't want to say, like, here's exactly how we're going to do it so you guys can make sure to know, what, how we're going to go around it. But, like, I think that there's some steps that we can take. And again, part of it too is just like enforcement of terms of service where you put it in there and it's like, listen, you're not going to be banned. You'll just be removed and not allowed to re-enter into those, human only spaces. Like it's a little bit of like constant cleanup duty, which sucks. Like, but
So right, but then the next question is who's going to do this, right? Like, are you guys going to look to me and be like, Aggie, here's this account at Weirdbeard, and I want to know, should we let at Weirdbeard play in this? So like, on a if you were a sponsor, let's say that you're AMD, the microchip maker, the like, a graphics card, like the shit. I was going to say TI-82, but that's not what I mean.
are you
But
from the 1980s? What kind of chip are you picking?
I am. No. It's the like TI 1080 is the last one that I remember looking at.
Yo, COVID fried your brain. You need a new graphics card. Is what you need.
I get a new graphics card once a decade. Whether
Oh
or
my
not I need
god.
it.
You're running on a toaster, man. They just released the 4070 series.
Yeah. Yeah, I had decent ones. I liked some of the AMD chip series. I can't even remember what I was doing, but I was like mining, using graphic cards to mine GPUs, and I liked finding high output for low energy. That was sort of like a neat experiment that I was doing for roughly a year or so. And that's the last time that I remember like actively looking at graphics cards. But you got to kind of like figure out, so like if you had somebody like that, or like the HyperX Arena wants to go put out some headsets or something, it's totally fair game for them to say, here's our criteria. If you want to participate in my tournament, it looks like this. And I'm like, there's nothing that I would say or do about a private company running their tournament with those kind of like the specifics. I guess I would need a pretty strong vote by the DAO to go figure out like, not just should we ban bots in tournaments or not, but really the methodology that should be used. Like who enforces it? How do we as a company say, no, you can't play? And ultimately, I think it would actually come down. Maybe you could do it at the tournament level, but it might actually have to be at the like validator node operator level, where the node operators themselves would have to hold like a list of accounts that they don't let play in certain tournaments that are marked a certain way.
Yeah, I mean, you could also do things where you just, instead of like account by account, you make it where there's like CAPTCHA, which sucks. CAPTCHA's not
I don't think we're doing CAPTCHA.
Okay.
There's sites that get around it. Oh, I got some like investigator in the background is giving me some like looks, being like, really not CAPTCHA? I don't know. We'll see what it says. That was it wasn't a purposeful thing. I just caught him doing it.
I think like at the end of the day, the big takeaway, players want to hear that we as a company identify bots in tournaments as like a non-competitive, fun-sucking thing, right? And then I think how we tackle that is up for like a solution. And it's more just like players want to be heard. That I think the bot conversation gets so, excuse the language, but shitty a lot of times because people feel like they're screaming at a wall, so they progressively get angrier and angrier about it. So I think they just want to be acknowledged. But B, I think the other part is instead of saying account by account, what's something that to the like fundamental format of tournaments can we do that makes it so that it's not just easily accessible? You know what I mean? Even if it's, hey, a reduction of 40%, 50% of incidences, that's still like a large increase in like player experience for a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my ultimate problem is that in a decentralized world with smart devs out in the community, people that have already figured out how to set up like a 10,000 plus bot farm, the idea that like they're going to get stuck by CAPTCHA is a very low probability to me.
Well,
And
yeah,
so
but that's
so
like
I think
saying,
it ends up being like it just is going to annoy the players that that otherwise didn't have to do CAPTCHA before, didn't have to do all this rigmarole.
well, A, it's a deterrent, but B, it also, again, wouldn't be the only tournament format. We would still have tournaments as they exist now. You know what I mean? It's like, if people are going and searching for that environment, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, if they are annoyed by CAPTCHA, but they're the ones going to the human-only tournaments, I feel like that's a little goofy, like, you know? Because it's like, it's a self-subjecting environment, you know? Like, build it and they will come sort of a style, but nobody is forced to have to go and compete in anything that's like that.
Yeah, I think ultimately the only way it works is to go have some sort of committee, whether it's the elected validator operators that are voted into witness positions, or and again, you know, the only tournaments that I think that we need to care about for this are the ones that are funded by the DAO, right?
Yes,
There's a certain
correct.
portion that comes in, and that money, the SBS rewards come from the DAO, and the DAO should be able to go vote however the hell they want. Screw whatever Aggie or Matt think. It's whatever the community wants, and so we can go figure out. Matt sent me a proposal today about how he thinks we might be able to go implement some of the like community voted or community created proposals. So I don't know, you know, there's a lot of work between here and hey, that's actually live.
Oh, totally.
You know, now there's actually a spec and a plan that look pretty good to me. So, but and one of the first things that I imagine would happen is, you know, someone comes in and they're like ban bots and everything, and
Yes.
and you know the challenge with that again, it's not just ban bots and everything. It's
It's
going to
the
be
fallout from it, man. Like,
like,
how? What is it? What is
honestly,
it?
it's
What's
not
the
even
whole
the
thing?
fallout. I'm not worried about the fallout of it. You know, if the community votes for it and the community comes in and says this is what we want, and 70% of the stakeholders are behind it, or 66 or whatever percentage that is, you know, I'm not going to stand in the way of that. I think the biggest problem is going to be like, how do you enforce it and how do you work it, and who's actually in charge of that? And it's basically like some giant allow list that, or you know, some combination of an allow list and a blacklist. And you know, my problem is going to be that it's like cat and mouse infinitely. But if the players take that on, or the witnesses take that on, and it's not Uncle Aggie that has to decide it, then
No.
that
Do you think?
sounds like
Okay.
fun.
Do you think that we would just dump stuff on Aggie's plate? I
Yes,
want you on.
yes.
I want
There's
you
an
on my
enormous
time.
amount of
No.
crap that goes on Aggie's plate.
I am ready to give you a Mai Tai and stick you on a beach in a tropical area somewhere. I just want you chilling and relaxing because that's my favorite Aggie is when you're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Like a lot of this stuff.
That's my favorite Aggie too.
I think that it's, you know, again, there's a lot of projects that we're working on. You know, Chatter talked about new modes, the Ghost Card Gladiator tournaments, possibly talking about, you know, human only tournaments in addition to tournaments that already exist. A lot of the stuff that we want to do is just trying to show that it's like a concern to players and we want to talk it through. Because even if something isn't able to be done, even if something doesn't end up happening, it's the fact that we have the conversation. We go, okay, what could we do? what are the honest to God solutions if we were going to look at something like this? And then is that what you want to follow through? I think that like having the conversation isn't a commitment to anything. It's more of like, hey, let's just hear everything out and see what we got to do. You know, planning and then
And for the record, there's like a massive difference between like, you know, if we've had a long-standing policy, if I suddenly change it, that to me would be pretty angry, or like make a lot of people angry. You know, I like this is how it's been set up forever. How dare you? If the community votes on something different and the stakeholders back it, you know, that's like that's the law in action. You know, code is law, the DAO is law. This is what we're going to abide by. So I have personal feelings. I might vote one way or the other, and I'll take my stake with me. But
And I think, and again, like the bot conversation always gets kind of like I said, poopy, because I think a lot of it isn't even a conversation about banning bots, because that's like a broad term. It's more like,
Howdy, Elevate.
there are
Welcome,
people
welcome.
competing in tournaments that don't even manually submit a single team. And it's like, hey, if you have to
Also
manually
involved
submit,
heavily
that's
in
at
chat
least
in
a step
YouTube
towards
and
what,
watching the
we
Discord chat,
consider
listening. And
competitive, right? Like, I think there's layers to the complexity of what the solutions are. A scalpel and a butcher knife have two different purposes, and you're allowed to be able to voice that, because again, this is like, I would rather have the conversation, put it to the community, and see what the community says, and then I think that speaks volumes for what they want to have happening.
anyways, I don't think we're long before some kind of ability of people and players to go vote, to like put out votes. You're not going to be like, hey, we want to vote to kill aggro, because that's not something that like the DAO can do.
Yeah.
But things that are in the DAO's control, vouchers, disbursement of SPS, that sort of thing. I think there's going to be a proposal system. We've gated that a little bit, just as we've tried to like figure out the first 15 of these, but that is not the long-standing plan. And my God, neither Matt nor I want to stand in the way of this community. It's such an annoying position to be in, of like, this is how it is and this is what it's going to be. It's like, no, this is a freaking DAO. You guys are stakeholders. Vote your brain. So that it's coming. Like I said, I got that proposal of like how it might work, or the plan, that literally today. So that takes a little bit of time to kind of like work itself out, get some more details, and get some more input. But I don't know, maybe in Q2 or Q3 or something, you guys will actually have a method where anyone in this community can start raising ideas. And then what's fascinating to me is that people get angry about the idea itself, of like, how dare you bring up this idea? And I can't wait for players to get angry at other players for their ideas, rather than being angry at me for my ideas.
Listen, I don't think anybody's gonna. I would hope, and I would constantly encourage that. Like, again, A, this is specific to just tournaments, and B, it's more bringing a community conversation to the forefront. And instead of like pissing and moaning and just screaming at walls, let's be productive about it. And I think it's like, I want to hear. I've heard from everybody. I've heard a lot of other like both sides and both positions. The biggest thing is, more than anything else, I just want to be able to put it on paper, have people talk about it, and if it's a thing people actually want us to pursue and look at, then let's have the conversation and see if it's a thing to do.
My personal proposal that I want to put out, this is part of what finally I think sparked Matt to be like, we just need to get proposals for everybody, and this is how this should work. I want to see DEC have an inflation for the rest of the year, so that like if you stake DEC, you would get something like a 21% interest rate. To me, everything in this game right now is really about like, how do we get DEC to peg and maintain that?
And DECB is not the answer.
That's like priority uno to me.
Yeah.
And I know that there's different priorities for other people, and some are going to say, well, that's an economy thing. Why are you working on that? It should be gameplay. Somebody else is going to say, why are you doing gameplay? It should be community. Somebody else should be like, it should be outreach or fundraising, or like, there's a million things that people could care about.
Yep.
The one that I think is the most important is getting DEC to peg, or DEC to par. So my thought on that is, in addition to using the like deck battery proposal on top of that, because deck batteries is cool and it burns it, but I also think it's a little complicated. So if there's like a simple alternative where you can just be like, if I push this button, I got a 21% yield. Okay,
Sure, okay.
sounds good to me.
I'll
like
do
you
it.
need both, because it's like,
Yeah.
here's my big brain way. You buy this battery, it takes it out of circulation. It's a non-transferable token that has value that you can put against the burn value of other things in the future. Like that's a lot more complicated than push button APR good.
Yeah, I think again the improv rule of yes and, right? Like, you're supposed to say yes and. It's not only gameplay is gonna be what solves everything. Don't ever talk about the economy, stupid. And then there's other people who are like, economy only, stupid. That's the only thing we talk about. Don't ever talk about gameplay. And it's like, listen, I think feeding both from each camp is because like new players don't care about the economy, but current players do care about the economy. So we got to get a large tent, as they say, and part of that is by being efficient and organized and thoughtfully planning exactly what we're going to do so that we're able to deliver on these things and not take more time like sitting on our asses and trying to plan stuff. We already have a road, the roadmap, like it's in your gut. You don't have to like say it yet because we already know, all right, you do here, do here, do here, do here.
I'm just really excited for players to be angry at each other rather than me. It's gonna make a world of difference to me personally.
And the other big part too is you got to remember people who are angry still care.
Yeah. No, I get that. That's why I try not to like do a giant outburst. You guys are here. You guys care. You guys are like really thoughtful humans, and you're sharing your ideas and your passion. No. I totally get that. The people that are like, "F you," and I've had enough, they just leave. So I 100% share that view of like that cranky player fighting for a certain thing is a passionate human deserving of kindness, love, and respect, even if I'm completely annoyed at them.
Yeah, I mean, like again, like we ended up talking about bots in tournaments way more than some of the other cool shit that you know what I mean, like is going on. It's like, but again, bots always suck the oxygen out of the room in conversations because it's always such a big deal, and people are sick of listening to me talk because Nate's gonna come on with eye candy here in a second. But like, we have all kinds of cool things that we're working on that are like broad and tackle a lot of the points that communities have been hammering on for 6 months now, and I'm just excited to like. It feels like the train wheels are rolling. Like we're not at full speed or anything like that right now, but starting to deliver on different things, getting some of these things hashed out and meet all the different needs. Like I'm so excited to get a battle pass rolling. Like the community is going to go ape poop over it because it's going to have cool things in it. It's going to be attractive to them. It's going to help people engage with the game more often at a higher frequency. Like there, and it makes it takes care of that revenue side of things. And then gladiator tournaments, I keep talking about them. I'm really excited about it. Like delivering from both camps is how we're going to win here. 2023 is the year of delivering and yes anding.
Yeah. I believe that. I agree with that, and I think it's going to happen. And there's also, I think there's a banana in your shoe right now.
There is. Yeah, there was a snake in my boot, but now there's a banana in my shoe.
Yeah, I mean, this is the constant problems that we in April have to deal with. All right, Weirdbeard, you're great. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for helping to organize some of these conversations in the community and hear the griping, the gnashing of teeth, the anger, the kvetching, and all the other things that are out there. So.
And then one last moment or note is that next week we're going to be having one of those gladiator ghost card tournaments. So get your practice in this week, and we'll give the exact details on next Monday's town hall. It's called a forward tease in the industry.
Ooh. Yeah, that's just foreshadowing, or that's it. But
no, it's like in radio to get you to listen. Like when before the Casey Kasem before they go into the break, where they're like, "This artist was 96 years old when they did this. Who is it? Find out after the break." And then like you have to wait through. So I want people to come back next week. And
it's the cliffhanger, the ghost card cliffhanger. All right, I dig it. All right, Weirdbeard, thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking to us, and go wrangle that community, and let's see what we can put together for them.
Let's go.
All right. I believe there's a Nate in the back office here, ready to go talk to us about all things creative. Nate, are you there?
Yeah, absolutely. You hear me?
I can hear you great. So
Awesome.
come walk me through the vision of like, what are we working on now? What are the priorities? And like, are you able to get the job done with the like team that we have and the planning that we've done, or is creative doomed and we should just pack it up?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think, as we pointed out in previous town halls, the restructuring of the company, I think, landed us in, possibly a leaner, meaner, better place. So we are kind of farther ahead in the planning a little bit. I'm able to, touch base with Matt and bounce ideas off the wall and kind of like at the conceptualization stage, make sure that UX and UI considerations are factored in. And when I say that, I mean that usually when we add a new feature update to the game, things that I look at are, that we ask ourselves as a design team is ultimately number one, and this is something I brought up in one of the other chats. I'm trying to remember which chat channel it was, maybe Land. Yeah, that might have been it, Land or Lore, one of the two. In the last few days, I kind of went in there and just kind of poked people's brains a little bit, see what people thought about different things. And one thing that I brought up is the fact that the designers, we look at, okay, first of all, is it fun and engaging? Secondly, does it provide utility using existing assets in the game? And thirdly, does it add value to the players? And if we could answer all those three things in the affirmative, then we know that, hey, this is good. This is a positive part of what's going to make the game better and more successful, and that's how we should kind of design it out. Whether you're talking the game loop or whether you're talking the front end or how pretty it looks or this, that, and the other. These are all UX questions, UI questions. This is what we ask ourselves when we tackle a new update or feature. So with that in mind, there's a lot going on. A lot of them, which we try to answer those questions in a way that's going to make everybody happy. I definitely, after hearing you and Weird Beard chatting it up, I definitely don't envy the position he's in. He's basically in a spot or a role in the company where he has to make the competitive aspect of gameplay successful in a bear market. That's no small task. So big hats off to Weirdbeard for climbing uphill and championing all these ideas and possibilities. From my perspective, I look at things a little bit differently from creative, and that's because I see the game as it is now as such a small thing compared to what it will be. So as everyone is arguing back and forth about ranked play or about this part of tournaments, I'm like, I look at this grand vision, this huge ecosystem for what Splinterlands is destined to be, right? And everything we're arguing about and fighting about and getting salty about is this tiny little sliver. It's like someday we're going to look back and say, I can't believe we're arguing about that stuff. And what I mean by that is, like, one of the things being in a bear market, we're looking at, like, how do we add value to the players? How do we bring utility with existing assets? How do we make the game more fun, more engaging, bring revenue to the company, make it so that everybody's just like hyped out of their brains? And so creative is currently right now neck deep in trying to answer these questions, or kind of be like, if those of you guys who attended Splinterfest, you saw all these ideas that we tossed at the wall, right? We just kind of like shotgunned it out there and said, hey, what if we did this and what if we did that? And we're just like, wee. And as we start having these conversations over the next few weeks, yes, we are going to make sure that we meet every single deadline on our roadmap. Yes, we're going to make sure that we unroll land and features the land consistently, and we continue to make updates to the game, and we're not going to derail that. We're going to continue producing those deliverables to the community, make sure that they're happy and make sure that they get what was promised. But at the same time, I'm looking at a lot of stuff, whether it's be like case in point, we're looking at tower defense, right? I told Alicia, VP of product, that hey, let us handle this little screen for when tower defense gets launched, right? Let's make like a game room. We'll add a little navigation up to the top. We'll create a cool background artwork with where it'll basically look like the battle mage's game room, the player's game room, where they live. And there'll be a little table, and they can choose what game they want to play. The first one, of course, will be tower defense, right? They'll click on that, a little logo, and then they're off to the races. They'll go play tower defense. And we were in the midst of that. We were like, being the creatives that we are, we're a bunch of crazy people who just like have ideas and say, oh, that's cool. I said, you know what? Make sure this thing has layers. Because
is Eggy chewing on his cord?
That's supposed to be right?
That's hilarious.
Don't take a whole bunch of time. Don't waste time. We got to get this done, but do it in a way to where we could swap out the fireplace. I want to be able to swap out the chandelier. I want to swap out, see that pet in the corner? I want to swap it out for a different pet, so forth and so on. What if I want to change the paint on the walls or the tile on the floor, right? And because in my mind, I'm thinking Splinterfest. I shared with people the idea of a battle mage avatar, customizing. What do you want to be? You want to be an elf, a dwarf, a human? You want a long nose, a short nose? You want hair? You want a beard? What do you want? You want to wear a hat? What do you want? How do you want to represent your?
You really skipped pointy ears. Like that's the one that didn't make the list.
Okay, pointy ears. You want pointy ears? So essentially, at Splinterfest, I proposed to the community, hey, what about this idea? Would you guys be excited about this? And the idea being is, I want to suck people into this world. We've been world building for years now. It's not that we have a technological marvel under the hood. You open up the hood and you're like, whoa, these guys have built some crazy infrastructure here. We're ready to blast off just based upon the engine of this car alone. But we also been building an IP, a pretty impressive IP, if I do say so myself. There's a lot of lore, a lot of stories, a lot of ways you can get emotionally attached to the characters in the world and all this other stuff. And what if we get to the point to where, you can customize your avatar? Who do you want to be in this world? And as we flesh out land and what it's going to become, imagine you being in this player housing. Imagine being able to get NFTs to swap out that chandelier, the fireplace. What if you get to make your player housing how you want? Where do you want to live in Pretoria? That kind of thing. What if you want, and then we get into skins and we get into animations and we get in a potentially story mode and campaign mode and stuff. Joey shared in the lore channel. You guys really should follow the lore channel. Joey goes in there and drops little sneak peeks behind the curtain.
No Eternal new player experience has not been mentioned at all this town hall.
Some of it's to get your guys' reaction. Like, how do you feel about this? So I think he shared like this map with all this crazy storyline and all this stuff, something that could possibly pave the way for story mode and adventures and things that you could do in the wilds in between all these player-owned regions, right? So, I want you guys to envision a day, a future, where it's not about talking about who won what battle in the freaking ranked play that day with a bot or not. I want you to imagine like going to the computer, logging in, and sure, that stuff matters for some forms of gameplay, but you could also, invest your day and your time having fun. That's the key word, fun. I want this to be a game. I don't want this to be DeFi that's skin to look like a game. I think that sometimes we play that fine line of what are we, right? I want there to be no doubt, no question whatsoever that this is a game, that this is fun, and that you just happen to get a little DeFi baked in. You get a little bit of benefit of owning your assets and some crypto along the way. But ultimately, I want people just driven and motivated to log in because it's just so much fun. That's what I want. That's what my goal is, and that's over the next few weeks as we plan out the future sprints and what's to come in quarter one and quarter two and quarter three. That's probably going to be my biggest objectives, is trying to make sure that that's how people feel when they log into the game. And whether that is a single player mode where you're not competing at all, but you're still having fun. Who cares about the bots at that point? Whether or not you're decorating your player housing, or whether or not you're building a reputation over here, over there, you're just doing other stuff, right? At that point, it's like, there's a lot more to do than be salty about this one aspect of the game. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
So, all right. I guess we're still nearing the end, and I still think we should do a little eye candy. So I agree with all that.
That's all you want me for.
Well, no, it's sort of funny because like I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like, if like we're all different human beings that are in here, and like your constant message and if you're pounding the gavel, it's like lore, community, gameplay, visuals, immersion, and that's like quintessential Nate. Like if I actually go make some like word cloud and like I bet I could do a decent Nate town hall word cloud. And I'm really focused on like economic pieces, and it's something like it's because this team really has a lot of people that have specialty in these different areas or focus in the different areas that like we're able to get as much of this stuff done as we can. It's not just Agrod has this one vision and this is what he wants, so that's what it'll be. It's like people all across this org are focused on different parts of this, and hopefully that's how we deliver. Speaking of delivering, maybe there's some eye candy that you would like to deliver and kind of show this community some of what's coming up, or what maybe we should have on our minds and our brains.
Yeah, let's see what I got. So I just before the town hall, I went and it just dumped a whole bunch of stuff in a folder. So what could we talk about? I do have a screenshot in here, so I guess we are talking a little bit about land. So this I don't know if this constitutes as eye candy necessarily, but it's interesting. It's interesting to see what's around the corner. So this is UI that we're sharing with the devs as we speak. I think I was talking to our UX designer Roy a little bit ago, and we're just putting the final polish, putting the bow on top, and then we're going to give the specs over to engineering so that they can implement. But this is one of the screens. This screen represents the list view for the continent view. So in other words, if you're in map view and you see the map of Praetorian, you switch over to list view. You go from seeing 150 dots on the map to suddenly you see 150 like rows, and you can use the search. We plan on improving the search and the filters a little bit. You can kind of look at that screen and say, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. I see how this would be kind of cool. And this is supposed to be the next upcoming phase update to the land expansion. So this screen will be one of many screens that will be part of the hopefully the next update. That's what I'm hoping for.
Say that again. What am I looking at here? I see.
So this is the list.
Name. I see.
So essentially what we're trying to do for the next update is add market functionality. So right now you can transfer plots to other players, but you can't put them on the market. So now, we kept telling people, hey, we need non-card market first before land. We need non-card market. We finally released non-card market, and now, bam, here is some of the fruits of that labor in that we're going to be able to, and this is one of the many screens that we're going to provide engineering. That's part of that update to the game. But this update right here starts kind of dip our toe in the water in regards to what does regions look like, not on the map view, but on the list view. What does that look like? And that's what that looks like. And you can kind of see on the left-hand side the some of the changes we're making to the search field and the filters.
Sweet.
Oh, Rondon, yeah, all the regions come with default names, as you guys are already aware, but we do hope that yet another sync for dark energy crystals or vouchers or whatever we end up doing will be the opportunity to rename the region. We haven't decided yet whether that's based upon the Keep It Castle owners or whether that's a kind of a neighborhood DAO vote, so to speak, where everyone kind of votes for what they want their region to be called. But
I mean, it should be the castle owner. Like,
Okay.
it should be the castle owner.
Oh, here's something else
you got?
land related. Before we get into the regular eye candy, this is something that the narrative team has been working hard on, and which we're almost there. They didn't want to release the wiki.
I mean, yes and no, Eternal Paw. Like,
that's where it'll be found, but they didn't want
that is far more important. But how things work is also
story stuff, more stuff, so that as we go from one region to the next on the map,
that is part of getting it to work is figuring out how.
About where they would basically be residing. Like, maybe lore and the stories don't have a direct impact upon how much you're harvesting or what workers go in the building or any of that stuff, but it's still cool. There's a certain level of cool factor involved.
You can tell he's definitely a world builder, and I fully understand that. Like, I have a world of my own as well. Actually, I'm gonna be right back.
That's where this will be released relatively soon. The wiki for lore, so that you guys can kind of get a glimpse at what that looks like. We'll have different territories and different topics and subject matter on each territory and what's going on there. So that should be cool.
This is my world that I have built from the ground up.
That sounds awesome.
I'm not going to really talk about it here on Splinterlands
What else
TV
can I
because
share?
it is not Splinterlands related at all, but
I hesitate. I don't know. Sure. So if you guys are curious, we went through several iterations for what Artemis would look like, and I mean, it's already released. Who cares, right? But I think it's fun to look at. I think it's fun to see the process, and it's something that I never shared before. But I think it, just for fun. Here's some sketches of different concepts for what Artemis could have been, and as you can see, one of them is what we ended up going with. So the reason that I bring that up is because you guys know we ended up with this. This is from the lore. This is where we ended up. But I think last town hall that I was on, which wasn't last one, it was the one before that, right? I shared the fact that part of the creative's workflow now, part of the process in bringing new characters to life, is that every single character is made with alternate skins. So even though we're not ready to implement skins into the game, even though we're not going to do that yet, and I don't know when that'll be, and we still have to scope it out and all that stuff, I feel like it's a safe bet that we are going to do them. So just for kicks, I will share with you what the Artemis skin will probably end up looking like, because that was made at the same time as we made the Artemis artwork. So I think that's cool. But that gives you an idea about kind of where our heads are at as to, how do we make sure that the characters are
I like the skin a lot better than the original, actually, because
we do want Battles 2.0.
it doesn't look like he's carrying a handle of a hatchet without a head to the hatchet. You can tell that that's actually like the strap of a satchel or something like that.
If every skin is so completely different that we can't utilize the same rigging that we used for the first one, right? So what we're trying to do is maintain the overall high-level shape language of the character, but make sure that the anchor points for all the animation rigging are still there, so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time we want to go and create a new Battles 2.0 character.
When have you guys talked with Matt about when you think Battles 2.0 might exist? That's like a second half of 2023? Do you think that's like next year?
Yeah, I would say that is actually, that might end up happening sooner than people realize. So that is that's something that we've deliberately left off of the roadmap, because we essentially, we didn't want to make that something that we were going to be basically held accountable to doing, knowing that there's all these high priority things like land and so forth that really they needed to get done. They had to get done. We're not going to start muddying the water and confusing the roadmap with all this extra stuff unnecessarily. But I did have a conversation with Matt relatively recently in the last few days that suggests that he's getting more and more serious about implementing Battles 2.0, and we're probably going to start scoping it out, figuring out, okay, how exactly are we going to get this done, and how soon can we get it done? So if not for the battle screen, then at least for the team building screen, the same type of experience that you guys saw at Splinterfest.
Okay. Well, I think we should pause there, because I think that I have some questions that I need to get to, and then I have some questions.
Here's one more thing. Do you care? Matt talked about last time about the new abilities for the Soulbound reward cards. I actually just finished those and had them uploaded to the production folder. Since reward cards are around the corner, I could share those if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. I think
Do it. Show us.
So
Give
this
me
one's
now.
the conscript ability. That's where the new summoners will be able to,
Summoners.
gladiators
Summoners.
This one is, let's see. Oh, this is the trainer ability that allows you to take
This
adjacent
is
units, you
Sparta.
know, attack and train them to actually have some sort of attack. And then you got Martyr, which Martyr is going to operate similar, probably operate, everything's TBD. I feel like I always have to say that. Martyr is supposed to operate similar to Bloodlust in that the creature dies and suddenly all the surviving allies get that much
Ooh,
stronger.
reverse
Um,
bloodlust. I like it. I heard that put
so
forth
kind of
before,
like
and I
how
kind of liked it. I'm intrigued to see exactly how that
but
works.
yeah, I think that is going to have some really cool. I don't know. It's going to change a lot of how battles are fought. Um, and then I would say that yeah, I don't want to take up any more time. We got a half an hour left to answer questions, but yeah, if you know just to keep people sticking around, aggro, if you want to leave me like 1 minute at the very end, I'll be more than happy to share one or two reward soulbound reward characters because I haven't done that yet.
That's
Or I
so
did
dirty.
last time, huh?
That's so dirty. Yeah, maybe right at the end, right at 29 minutes from now, if you
Why
guys
is
wanna go
Eggy all
share,
blurred out?
Nate can go share just a little bit more eye candy. All right, let's go. Let's hop into the questions. I know I have these somewhere in. Oh, we got to do before I do that. I do have to do Splinterlands TV. Of course, we have a handful of people that deserve these sweet shout-outs, and you know, only this first one is really that bad. It's Odic Ridger, O Cridger. Do you know how to pronounce that, Ron?
Yeah, no idea, but keep trying because it's fun.
Okay. We got Slow Carls, we got M Howie, we got Mum Poles, and New Age INV. That's an old school player that's been here forever, and nice to see kind of like one of our OGs, like hardcore OGs, sitting in the Splinterlands TV shoutouts. So kudos, good sir. Maybe you have a clip of the week you want to share, Mr. Ron Donson?
Absolutely. We'll just go ahead and get right into this because we don't have much time, but we do have a clip. We got a clip from Elephantium. He submitted this on Ape's birthday. Ape had a birthday. He was trying to give away a max level Jared Scar. And, because it was his birthday, he decided to put himself on the list of winners. And, yeah, we'll see how that went for him. Here we go.
Let's shuffle this. I'm in there too. I'm in there too. I'm number 21. It's fine. It's fine. We have like 20 minutes.
Ugh, light mode.
All right.
There is a dark mode on Wheel of Names.
No, don't you dare. No. No.
I actually saw that happen live. It was pretty entertaining.
He on his birthday he robbed.
I had raided into him like a minute and a half before that happened.
We do some cool giveaways. We have a lot of fun. Guys, come check out Splinterlands.
How you doing, Dave? Welcome.
A little news. It's kind of exciting.
Hit me.
So now, as of this moment, we are officially 24/7. We have absolutely zero open slots.
Holy
right
crap,
now.
Ron.
Yep.
That is fantastic. My news is that I just claimed a whole bunch of reward cards for Splinterlands. So I have something like 600 or 700 of the newest legendary that we need to give away, and I think it's going to be entirely done on Splinterlands TV.
Woot woot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Right
So
on.
we're gonna there's some reward cards that have to go out, Ron.
Well, I'm sure the streamers will be happy to help you with that.
Yeah. So I gotta. It's probably not just Uncle Aggie showing up. We probably need more of a system. So why don't you and I go figure that out? But I think it was 677 that I claimed, and that's all streamer. That's all for the streamers and the streamies.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure the audience and the streamers will be happy to help with that. So
Yeah, very excited to hear that.
All right. Well, now I really do need to get to questions. Let me go hop into those, and I guess bring the full team on. We'll power through these, and then away we go. So, when will we see a proposal to ban bots? Like Yavamat mentioned in the town hall, we really need this. We're trying to figure out a way that we can go release player proposals, and then you guys can figure out if what would a good solution look like for that, and if it ever has enough votes. Have you considered adding to the game some botting tools, auto battle settings as a way to diminish bot usage concerns? At times I have. I don't know that that has enough support, but one option of hey, it's unfair they have a bot is to go release a bot for everyone and see what happens. But there's already a lot of botting tools, and ultimately this comes down to like what should Splinterlands focus on? There's lots of third-party businesses that can make bot tools. There's not a lot of people that are out there.
I don't think we need a bot from Splinterlands because just like the market from Splinterlands, those who focus on that are going to do it better. Let Splinterlands make the game.
Pay the burn value DEC for soulbound cards after they go out of print. I'm a huge fan of this. I think that's the way to do it. Is like you can't get them unless you play while they're in the like minting phase. And then if you want them transferable, you actually have to stake the DEC. I think that's brilliant. What about an option where if you have a soulbound card, if you want to unbind it and make it tradable, you can pay its burn value in DEC plus a voucher, 1 voucher per BCX for common or something like that. Seems like this would help burn both the DEC and vouchers, give vouchers a whole new utility, open up some exciting new options for building gladiators into your decks for brawls, and would also create a kind of floor for the cost to reward cards and gladius cards. I'm in favor of a lot of this. I don't know, like maybe after Gladiator cards go out of print, we could do the same thing. That's not something that we had considered before, but I do think I think it's important that you can't just buy your way in, at least while they're in print. So,
Aggie, I will say that discussion, what they're bringing up is exactly what was discussed during product design and how this should work and figure out like what we ended up doing. Actually, I could show you guys what it's going to look like. Here's an example of a soulbound reward card, and you'll notice in the corner there's a little chain to indicate that it is soulbound. It's in the lower right-hand corner. There's a chain. That's one of the characters, and we're making it an overlay so that it does give us the scalability and the freedom to, in the future, if we did incorporate something like that, then that is not embedded in the graphic. It's actually something that you can we can code it so that we take the chain off. But as you pointed out, and as Matt pointed out, you definitely want to, get past the whole run, make sure it's max level, make sure that there's certain parameters before that chain could be unlocked. And who knows, maybe we'll never unlock the chain, but we did make it so that it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, I really like the idea. I think that balance of you can't do it now, but you can do it after the print, and in order to do it, you need some DEC stake, and I guess vouchers is another good sync for vouchers. So, I think that's the nice play. Marketing. Has a team ever considered an effort to market the game through brick and mortar stores? I think it would be a great opportunity if you were able to set up retail stores with their own web page to sell packs. I'm sure that the player base would be willing to help expand that type of marketing through in-person interactions. So I initialized that with the ambassador program. I did it. I got everything printed and
I need to learn more about the ambassador
and
program.
then COVID hit. Liam, I think, has picked up the baton some for physical stores. I still think that there's some money in it, like value there. I'm not sure that that's a bear market thing, but Liam, do you have any thoughts on what we do for marketing with like comic book stores, or what's an ideal plan look like there?
Yeah, so right now we just did the posters. So if anyone wants a poster made, we have a QR code that we put on them that will essentially just become an affiliate link for your own account once someone logs in or signs up through it. That's really been what we've been doing for stores. I know Nate has kind of created a little bit of teasers around what a actual physical card game could look like too. I think that would probably be the big step of trying to get into stores, and that'll be more so like, how do we get into hobby shops? How do we get into Walmart? So on and so forth there. But I mean, that's been really the state of it so far. I would love to figure out what that looks like. I'm just trying to do like a digital sale in a physical store too.
All right. Tower defense. Can you comment on how heavy the impact will be for staking cards on TD towers? I have a lot of TD packs and not a whole lot of cards right now. Worried I'll be outpaced by some who have large collections and only a few TD packs. Fortunately for you, there's card renting. So, just like you'll be able to go rent cards for, your battles today, you should be able to rent cards for tower defense. So, the rental market has like plenty of excess cards, at least until land is released. So I think you'll be able to find anything that you need, and it shouldn't be too bad. But there's probably going to be a couple cards per tower, or per overlay, or per build out. I don't know. We'll have to see. I haven't seen it yet, but I'd expect that for your towers, in order to get to max strength, they'll probably need more than one card staked on them. And again, that can be I think it should be able to be a rented card. Battle Pass. Is there any revealable info about the Battle Pass? Weirdbeard, do you want to talk about where you think the status of that is, or Liam? Either one.
Weirdbeard, you want to take it away?
I was muted. Sorry. I was like, I think that we need to decide a couple of things first. First, we need to know like exactly what's going to be going into it. The other thing is, how long is this going to be? Because some places or some games offer a battle pass that's like 2 months, right? Like it's a much longer kind of grindy experience. And then there's other ones where it's like not necessarily as much stuff, but you still like it's for a shorter amount of time, so it's more frequent. So I think that we're still kind of in the conceptual phases as it is.
I like the longer one better.
But we definitely will be
2, 3 months, at least 1 month.
What are the things you would like to see in a battle pass? How, what kind of tasks and things you should have in there? Like, I really think there's a lot that's still open to interpretations right now.
Or like 3 seasons. I think 3 seasons is a good sweet spot.
Why does the Guild Lodge level drop after season reset? So that you guys have to keep doing your quests. There shouldn't be anything in this game that like you do something once and then you get infinite rewards thereafter. There has to be something that's out there. Okay, and then New Year's resolutions. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? I resolved to not have any New Year's resolutions, and depending on your outlook, I may or may not have been successful. Anybody else want to share a New Year's resolution?
Land.
My New Year's resolution is just to try to double down and make sure this year is a much, much better one than last year, and that we actually meet all of our target deadlines for the roadmap.
Yeah, Manser, how much have you had to play with the kind of like new agile style that we're going after? Like, have you done a lot with these epics and story creation?
I haven't been involved in the planning aspects too much, just because I'm in a different time zone than most of you guys, so it's hard to take part in all of those planning meetings and whatnot. But I have had a lot of agile experience in other companies, so I'm used to the format of working that way. And I think it's great to see us going in that direction. It's definitely already starting to help out a lot in terms of keeping our focus and making sure we actually crank out these deliverables.
We're starting to get questions, so I guess let's open up questions. I think maybe Azaria will type that. Oh, she did. She put it up there. So I'm going to start with this Skirringe question at 9:41, and then we'll go down. I guess let's leave this open till 9:55 or something, and then close it off, or if we really start getting inundated. All right, Skieran's asking, in order to get new players and integrating them in the game, is it possible to do a story mode in which players could unlock the starter cards throughout encounters where they would find the lore of each card? It could even integrate side quests for the neutral cards and other games that would link the players to the cards, land, lore, and other games. The reward could be a title. In software, everything is possible, right? The question is that the thing that's going to get us the biggest bang for the buck? The product team is where good ideas go to die. They really have to be exceptional. And, while I agree that this could be a fun and nice to have, like if I had to decide, should we do a player side quest where you have to defeat little characters in order to get your starter cards, or should we be working on land? My answer would be land, and I think that's in agreement with a lot of the others. So not that I don't think this is a bad idea. I think this is cool. I just don't know that it's enough. To
All right,
push past
first
what
question
we're
I've ever
currently
asked in
doing.
a town hall.
Question: is it guaranteed we'll have a minimum of 3 months
Hopefully
between
they get to
end of
it.
any main set resales before next main set pre-sale starts going forward? So I hope to bake this in. I haven't socialized this idea too much, but I kind of thought of what I don't like is that we get to the middle of an edition and you have kind of like a big overhang and it sits around forever. So rather than let cards pile up indefinitely, I kind of think that we look at how many cards are in an edition, and let's say we only do 270 packs, which is 9 months, and every single day, if a pack doesn't sell, then we should burn that pack, and there would be like a trend line that would be like at day 30. If we're beyond 30 packs sold, then we don't need to burn anything. But if we're at day 60 and we only have 45 packs sold, well, we should have burnt 15 along the way. And that way, I think we can guarantee it's exactly 9 months, no more fatigue rounds or anything. Basically, institute a daily burn if you're not past the sort of pacing that we hope for. And I think that's a nice, elegant solution to not being in the spot where we are, where like a pack just goes beyond 9 months. So if it's super popular, we'll sell out. If there are times where it's not popular, people will miss that opportunity, and it won't just come down to like the last couple days. It'll really be paced out throughout, and I think that's cleanest. So that's not guaranteed, so I can't tell you that is what we're going to do, but that is my current leading thought on how we could do that better. It was mentioned that TD playable to select testers here shortly. Is this beta testing that was a perk for 500 pre-sale packs, or is this earlier testing? Matt's not here to answer that. Can anybody answer anything about tower defense right now?
I believe that's for the 500.
Okay, there we go. Buying alpha goal. Let's see. Question: will Deck B work on potions for packs and potions for Gladius packs? That's going to be a question for Matt. I think as long as it involves burning, I think it should work. So that might possibly include potions, but until we see the post of exactly how it'll work, I don't think that you can count on that.
Haha, love the
Question,
next
how
question.
in the world did Aggie get so many reward cards? Is he botting? No, this is not me or my personal account. I did not get 677 reward legendaries. When Splinterlands reserves cards for the promotion, we also get the airdrop for those. So when we reserved a couple 100,000 card packs for like promotional reasons, we get those reward cards, and then we don't. To date, we have not sold them. I don't. Really
So
have
those
any
are
plans on selling
promos,
them,
not
but I
rewards.
think they're great for marketing and promotional purposes. So there you go. Can
He
you
is
explain how
misspeaking
workers
there.
will work
I
plots?
think he's
Will
talking
workers
about
be dependent on the
Immortalis.
summoner splinter, or can you mix and match? Will abilities have any effect on land, or will it just be collection power based? So we haven't set all those details, and Matt would tell me if I commit to anything, it limits our options. So I'm going to leave that open. I think it's a great question, and that's still kind of being worked on. So it's there, valid question, and I'll have an answer for you, but not today. Jarvy's asking, will purchase authority work for assets non-card market in tomorrow's update? That's a hairy question.
We didn't make any changes to purchase authority for non-card market for tomorrow.
Is that something that's in the plans at some point?
I
would
love
have to
Jarvy's
go
follow-up question
check
too.
Matt's tier board, but not that I know of, but it's probably in our backlog somewhere.
Okay. Question: soulbound cards don't help diamond players until they are leveled up. Any chance we can focus on 1 or 2 at a time so that we have at least 1 usable soulbound instead of 24 non-usable? That's a fair problem. At least it's a fair problem for everybody. So I don't think that we're going to do a focus on 1 or 2, because that kind of breaks like the whole methodology that we're doing. But that
I don't know. I kind of like the idea if it's like back when we were like, hey, let's do a voucher store, and then things happen and we didn't quite get it out, and that's something we might still do. We'll see. But one of the ideas I had proposed on a list of what a voucher store would entail would be, hey, let's create a sync, and then you could renew your daily focus. Like, you got a freebie, right? But let's say you want to renew it again, then okay, buy a voucher pass to do that. Like, I wonder, like, I guess the economy team would have to look at that. Like you said, you're right, Aggie. Like, how that affect the economy and distribution, all that. But if it doesn't break it, I'm wondering, like, if we could create a sync where people could go ahead and choose their wish list character that they want out of the reward chest, then like that I don't know. That sounds interesting to me.
All right. Well, I guess I shouldn't poo-poo it right away. If there's a, that sounds like a ranking, and then maybe if you put enough vouchers or stake SPS to it, it might impact the distribution of which legendary you get. I don't know, stuff like that. Like, we really try to keep it random. If you can really just like change the randomness, is the game the same? I don't know. That's a big enough change that I don't have an answer to that, and we should let others do it. Okay, I might just be oversimplifying way too much, and I understand you guys didn't come up with Deck B, but wouldn't it be easier to hammer out the details of land, cards needed, and ballpark building costs?
You skipped
and create
Bebe's
a simple
question.
tab on the land page for folks to prepay DEC for stuff instead of doing a new token. I feel that info would be a great catalyst for rising card prices as folks prepare for land. On top of a deck sync, we are looking for, probably easier said than done, and why they didn't choose that path. Like 100,000 deck sync per plot would be 15 billion DEC burnt. So yeah, we're expecting there to be a whole bunch of DEC burnt per plot, and especially as you go after the harder and harder, rarer and rarer resources, I think will cost you more and more. So if you have some common thing and you go for like natural resources, it was going to be a lot less expensive than if you have some like mega rare thing, and it's just imagine it more expensive. But like all of that, all of those details are TBD, and waiting. We don't want to wait any longer. We like, again, I think that the biggest thing that we can do is get DEC to par. And I know not everybody agrees, and I'm not asking everybody to agree, but if I could get Deck B out in the next release, but I can't get land stuff out for like 6 months, I'd rather just get the Deck B thing out now. It gets to the same point.
Vote no on
Maybe
Deck
it's
B.
too complicated or something, but that's also part of why I'm thinking like, the simple method here too that we can do in addition to Deck B is just give inflation to DEC for the next 12 months or something, or through the end of the year. That would be one way to do that. Jarvie's asking.
We skipped Bebe Omega's question.
Oh, question: are there plans for land portion price? I think he means potion. I think 10,000 DEC is kind of steep, and many people may opt out to use it, which would lead us to losing a good opportunity for DEC burn. I think it would be way better to have 3 times more people purchase a potion at half the price. It's still way more DEC burn. I think there's going to end up being a proposal to see if we can get, if the stakeholders are on board with us doing it. There's a handful of holdouts. I know For Freedom is really not inclined for this, and I know that there's others. So rather than just us imposing it, I think it's going to end up being a vote. I don't know that the vote is, it's not, that vote is not SPS or vouchers or really like the DAO. It's still, it's more of like a temperature check for Splinterlands, because that's something that we have full control over, and it's not a DAO thing. So I don't know. I think the retail price might be 10,000 DEC, but then like you get discounts and other things, and you put in vouchers, and suddenly it's a lot less. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't have a set answer for that. We're still kind of debating that internally. Soulbound rentable. I don't think the Soulbound are going to be rentable. I think they're Soulbound until they're out of print and you've staked your DEC and potentially spent your vouchers. Any news on when the tower defense beta will launch? Didn't you guys just say it was next week? Is that correct?
Scroll down the questions, guys.
Chatter.
You're reading off screen.
We're still waiting on for timing.
Oh, okay. Well, it's coming. It's Q1, right? Like we're still planning on that being Q1.
Yeah, that's the plan right now.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. We're it should be in the next month or two. I guess I jumped the gun by saying I thought it was next week, but I'm a little out of the loop on that one. Jimmy. Jimmy's asking, where is creating a new player experience on your list of priorities? Distant future, or is it in the crosshairs yet? Um, so I don't think a new player experience. One of the things that we're trying to do with the whole agile approach is not think of like an individual product, but like little pieces that we might implement here and there. So I know in Matt's roadmap for the next 5 sprints, there are elements of new player experience pieces that are supposed to go in. I don't know that any one of those individually will say this is now the new player experience. So it's more on like a continuum than it is here's a finite point for this. So hopefully you're going to see a whole bunch of this stuff, and
Yeah,
they
but
may
so
not
far
all
out of
look like
everything
new
they've
player
mentioned,
experience,
none of
but,
it falls under new player experience.
we're going to try to isolate some of the things that we think players have problems with, and then add on to it. And if we haven't stopped questions, we should do that now. If when season rewards are introduced, is a plan to replace a current rental system or supplement that? I've heard many fears expressed that there will no longer be an option for shorter term rentals, but many of us would love to not have to worry about rentals being canceled. I think it'll be a season rental option. I don't think it's going to be a season
Okay,
rental
good.
requirement.
That was my
but
question.
I haven't seen the full spec, so it's something that they're actively working on now. I think a PVE campaign to unlock starter cards is a huge bang for the buck, and I would out it. I think you mean put it above land. Yeah, I mean if there's enough players that all say the same thing, then maybe that'll happen. But at least for now, the focus is on land, and we would have to go like really spec out the PVE campaign. But I've been working on that for like 3 years, and it doesn't make it to the top. Um, Question: does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe? Uh, Weird question. Is a soccer game going to have gameplay? Yes. When is tower defense playable? Q1. Question: what's up with Todd McFarlane and Spawn in the game? Um, uh, Details are TBD, if at all. What happened to the cabinet video game that was supposed to be at Splinterfest? I don't know what cabinet video game means. And then who's working on the comic book, if anyone, or is there one? So I think the comic book got a little pause during the bear market, but we'll try to bring that back later. Anybody know what the cabinet video game is?
Yeah, I think that's when we had our partnership with Zipmex in the mall. They had arcade cabinets that they put Splinterland's branding on, but it was like just reskinning the actual cabinet, right? Like there wasn't an arcade cabinet of Splinterlands.
It's not going to be. I see. Yeah. There's not like a little arcade Splinterlands game coming in the next, quarter or whatever.
No.
Nerd Cthulhu is asking, why do we need vouchers now when Deck B can be the discount vehicle? The discount Deck B offers can be changed for each product and put all the pressure to obtain discounts back on DEC. This is a vastly better discount system. Vouchers seem like they are more appropriate serving as an access token for sales and offering discounts. Vouchers are more like a liability for DEC these days, and Deck B would solve this.
Deck B solves nothing.
I don't know. I think Matt looked at this and the economy team looked at this and they said this is what they think would be best. So, I think it's the team making the best call with the information they have, and I think they came up with a different answer than you did. Rift Watcher sale is not moving. Should we start burning the packs? I don't think so. My goal would be to, as long as SPS is dropping, nobody's going to want to spend more and more SPS to get the Rift Watchers. So if we get a reprieve in the bear market and things start going back up and SPS is higher, then I think people will start spending Rift Watchers left and right, or spending SPS on Rift Watchers left and right. So I don't know. Just I don't think we're at a like start burning the packs yet, But if enough people want it, then we can consider it. Those are owned by the DAO, so we'll do what this community wants.
All right, we got less
Hopefully
than a
in the
minute
not-too-distant
left, so I
future,
don't
we'll
think
have
we're
player
going to get to
proposals
the
and
end of the
something like
questions, but we
what
do
to
have
do with
Ape of
Rift
Wall
Watchers
Street
is
coming up
something that
next, so
this
stay
community
tuned
can
for some
figure out.
awesome content
You
from
don't have
him.
to ask
As always,
people that.
I've been Rick. You've
You
been on the
guys-
mountain,
you-
and it
you
has been
wanna
a
ask me 'cause
wonderful
I have some
time.
stake,
Thank you so
but you
much for
don't
hanging
have to
out.
ask me because
And
it's
I will
ultimately
be
the call
on
of this community
here
and not
in
me
2
as a
more
visitor.
hours on my own channel
Will
for
we
a
be
short
able to hide
stream,
all the
and then we're going to
non-maxed
be calling
leveled
it,
up
and
soul-bound
hopefully y'all
cards?
can
Is
wish me
that
luck
on
for my
the
interview
radar,
tomorrow,
Nate?
because things might be about to change in my life in a big way.
Is
So
to do what to the soulbound card?
very, very excited.
Hide them
Thank
if
you
they're not
so much
maxed
for
level.
hanging out once again,
Have like
and
a
have a wonderful evening.
level filter.
And
basically.
remember,
Oh.
it's not
Yeah,
too
I'm
late
sure we're
to
gonna do
change
all-
your vote
I'm really
and
looking
vote
for
no
Cryptomancer
on Deck B.
talked about,
It's a dumpster fire,
setting up the
and it is
sets
not good for the game.
so that the
Deck
parent
B solves
population
nothing.
was clear between the different sets,
Deck B
Chaos Legion,
solves
Untamed Rebellion,
nothing.
and so forth, and
Take
the
it away,
children
Abe.
that live within those sets. So